Well, hello, good evening, almost. Well, tonight we're going to try something interesting. We're having people over for dinner, and I decided, don't ask me why, that I was going to have this. And kind of this led to this. And let's see what that means. This is by San Giusto at Rentennano. We've had their Chiantis before, which were incredible. This is a very old property in Tuscany that we talked about before, used to belong to the Ricolma family who basically invented Chianti. It's still there, the property. It's owned by these guys who really have very high quality Chianti and Tuscan wine. Their flagship is this, called La Ricolma. And it's 100% Merlot from a small vineyard. They make about 6,000 bottles a year. And usually I'm not a big fan of Merlot, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I didn't understand it enough or what have you. But this is about a wine I tasted at a wine tasting at Zach's here locally a couple of years ago. I tasted it in 2016 and I just was bowled over. So I bought a bottle right there and there. It was very expensive because it turns out that Parker had given it 100, for my, I guess it's good and bad news. So I bought the 2016 that I really, really liked. And then I started buying a few other older vintages. So I have a couple of this 2014, and I've been dying to have this wine, and we're going to share it with friends today coming over for dinner. And then I thought we should have something else, a bit, similar but different. So I was looking for Merlot as well. And the best thing I could do in my cellar in terms of being ready to be drunk, and since I don't have a lot of Merlot, was this, La Gravette de Château Certan, which is La Gravette de Certan, the second wine of the Vieux Château Certan. It's a pomerol from the right bank in Bordeaux, and therefore it's primarily Merlot, so it's close enough, hopefully different enough as well. It's 75% Merlot, about 18% Cabernet Franc, like a lot of, right bank Bordeaux. There is quite a bit of Cabernet Franc in it, and then the rest Cabernet Sauvignon. Is by the Certan family, who we saw that with Hani. They have quite a few, the properties that they've developed in the Côte Castillon. Some of the smaller, less well-known appellations where they're trying to bring their capital and their know-how to develop some amazing wines. That was in that video Hani did not so long ago. There was, I think, Château de Lettres, that he had also reviewed independently, and Domaine de La, or Alcé, Château Alcé, sorry. So this is Certan, and this is San Giusto. Anyway, the San Giusto is 100% Merlot, as we said. It is aged. It's fermented in stainless steel, and it's aged in barrels for a couple of years. So this was bottled in 2017, early 2017. Then it's kept for 6 months. Then it's released. 2014 was a difficult year at first, and it was very wet. But in the end, it turned out pretty good because the summer was mild and kind of slow going. So grapes took a little longer to ripen, and they were able to pick and harvest in the beginning of October, end of September. So it worked out really well. Let me just move these around. And so looking at the color, it's just incredibly deep. And something about the Merlot has both a deeper and redder color than Cabernet Sauvignon. A little less brown, but deeper, more vivid red. It's not like a Syrah, which has that purple in it. It's just really scarlet, red. On the nose, when I opened it, it was just this incredible mix of sort of sweet blackberries and olives. I know it doesn't make sense, but I find that a lot in these Mediterranean wines, and it's still there. It's just lots of fruit. I mean, this is both are pretty young, and both could probably last for another 10, 20 years. But you know what? As we've discussed before, why not? So the fruit's there. The fruit's very deep. You just want to keep, it's like one of those aromatic wines that you just enjoy breathing in, and you can keep doing it. And I'm sure it's going to keep opening up, so it's going to have some development throughout the evening, but I did put them in decanters, both of them. in the mouth, in the palate, still reticent. It's tannic. This is 14% alcohol, so it's not an alcohol thing. I mean, although it's quite a good number. But it is still, still not ready. So I think hopefully another hour or two will be a lot better. But, I mean, from the nose and from the fruit that you had and the smoothness of it all together, it's just going to be a great wine. But it's still finding its words. Really amazing structure. It's got all the pieces that really need to come together. Whether it's going to come together today or not, I think it's still going to be very, very good. But it's probably going to be better in 5 years. And thank God I have another bottle. And now I know that I can really wait on it. But it is just really good. And it's got that whole thing about Merlot that we talk about, a little bit of that spiciness, but very fine, not the pepper from a Syrah, just kind of like spicy herbs, spicy tingle, on the tongue, and the fruit, as I said before, which was really from the depth of this particular wine. It just kind of makes me, and this is why I want to do it, really want to get to know more about Merlot. Here we are, Vieux Chateau Certan. It's the Certan family's owned, not Certan, I forget who the family is, but they've owned this since the mid-19th century. This is the second wine of Vieux Chateau Certan. It's called La Gravette de Certan. It's made with some of the younger vines, so around 25 years of age, but still predominantly Merlot as the main wine. 2016 was an amazing year in Bordeaux, as everybody knows by now. It was a mild winter. It was really wet spring and summer, which kind of replenished really wet spring. The summer was very, very hot, but the spring had sort of helped with all the water in the soil. And so the vines developed rather slowly, and they were able to really mature in the sun, which gives you the best sort of combination, like lots of sun without really drying up the wines and getting them to be overripe. So that's what it's supposed to be. Let's see what we have here. This is, it's a bit darker, maybe because of some of the other stuff. It's got a little bit of that brownish tint. So maybe it's in my own mind, and maybe that's where you see the influence of some of the blends. On the nose, it's less expressive right away from a fruit point of view. It's got a little bit more earth, maybe mushroomy, which is sort of interesting for something this young. It is more, it's kind of a mix of the two. Maybe a little bit of flower also, rose petal, something flowery, which is also very interesting. And the red fruit, like raspberry maybe, and blueberries, red, black, not necessarily sweet blackberry like the other one. Very different. More menthol, going up to the roof of your mouth. The flower taste, like the rose petal, as I said. Even a little bit of anise, licorice. Just a wider variety of flavors. And the spiciness of the Merlot that is still very much the underpinning of all this. So it's kind of interesting. Maybe a little less fruit, but more of the other flavors, more flowers, more earth, licorice. Very interesting, very, very good Bordeaux. And again, it's not a Cabernet, so this is another one of those Bordeaux's that I could really get to like quite a bit. And I hope our guests will like them too. Cheers, and see you soon.